Okay, hello everyone. What I want to do, this is another assignment, but I want to show you a bunch of examples. Um, that way you have them to refer back to, okay, when you do your assignment today. And I'll do a few on your assignment so uh, you get started on the right foot. So what we're doing is we're writing domain and range, okay? And this is another assignment. Remember, this is not the one you have, I understand. This is another one. I want to show you some examples first, okay? So things to remember when we're my mouse is clicked. Things to remember when we're writing domain and range, okay? First off, your domain, and I'm going to type this out. Okay. Domain. Why does it always do that? Okay, is your X values. All right. We look left to right. All right. So when we write our domain, it's the farthest left point, and then you use your sign, okay? And it can be or equal to X, and then your farthest right point, all right? And then on range, it's your Y values, and we look bottom to top, so low to high, okay? Lowest to highest point. So you start with the lowest, use your sign. Instead of X, now we're looking for Y. Oops. And we go to the highest point. Now notice, okay, the signs that you are going to use are less than or equal to, okay? Now, on some, we can use greater than or equal to, but I'm going to show you those. Those are special occasions, okay? Most of the time, you're going to write it like this. All right, so here's the thing. When we use less than's, okay, it's either an open circle or you're talking about infinity. When we use less than or equal to, you're talking about like right here where the line touches, okay, it actually touches that point right there. Or it's a closed circle. All right, so let's go look at number 2 right here. And we're only paying attention to one domain, okay? I'm not teaching you to write it twice yet. So domain, left to right. So with Cami, it's easy if you highlight your farthest left point all the way through the graph and your farthest right point. Okay, remember we're talking about domain, which is your x-axis, which is this one. So I'm trying to see how far left it goes on the x-axis, how far right it goes on the x-axis. So it's going to be farthest left. Okay, and then we're going to use a sign, and then we're going to write our farthest right. So what's our farthest left point? It's an open circle, and it's at -5. So it goes from -5, and open circles are less than. Okay, and then it goes all the way to +5, and that is a closed circle. So it's going to be less than or equal to +5. All right, now let's go look at range. Now I'm trying to find the lowest point. Okay, we're talking about the y-axis now. So my lowest point, and you highlight going to the y-axis, okay? So is these are my lowest points. And this right here is my highest point. Okay, lowest to highest. So what is my lowest point? It's -2. Now the kicker with this is an open circle and this is a closed circle, and this line actually touches right here. These two right here trump this guy right here. So it's going to be less than or equal to. So what is this number? So it's -2 is less than or equal to y. All right, now my highest, hey, that touches right there. Okay, it touches all right there. So it's less than or equal to, and then what is that number? 2. Okay, let's do this one, number 3. All right, so what you need to notice is this is an arrow and this is an arrow. So this is never going to stop expanding. It's going to go on and on and on and on and on. So when I'm talking about domain, do I have a farthest left point? No, you don't, because this arrow means it's going to keep expanding, okay? And this arrow means it's going to keep expanding to infinity. So this is negative infinity, okay, to positive infinity. It's never going to stop expanding. So your domain, you can write it one of two ways. You can write negative infinity, and when we use infinity, we use less than x, which is less than infinity, okay? That is also known as all real numbers, and this is the sign for all real numbers, okay? I know it just looks like an R with an extra line. That means all real numbers. That means it's going to go infinity to infinity, okay? Well, what about your range? Well, same thing. Is it ever going to stop going down? No. Is it ever going to stop going up? No. So it's also negative infinity, less than, because less thans are infinities, okay? Y is less than infinity. And range, when it's infinity to infinity, is also all real numbers. All right, let's do now the difference between these and this one. These are continuous. This one is discrete. Discrete means these are very specific points, okay? So as you recall from yesterday, when it's like this, all we have to do is list them out. Okay, so the domain is very specific. You don't use inequalities. It's at -3, -2. This dot goes to 1. This dot goes to 2. And this dot goes to 5. So we're going to list those out in order from left to right. So it goes -3. The next one is -2. The next one is 1. Then 2. Then 5. Now range, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go bottom to top, except for now we're talking about the y-axis. So we've got 5, 0. Both of those are at 1 and 4. So your range is -5, and then 0, 1, and 4. Okay, so let's do this guy right here. This is where these greater thans can play effect, okay, or less, well, they could, but they're, okay. So looking at your domain, so remember left to right, okay? The left point is an arrow. So what does that mean? That means that is going to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on to negative infinity, okay? Because it's going to the left. Those are all negative numbers. So your domain's going to be, you can write it one of two ways. You can write negative infinity, okay? And then when we have infinities, we use less than, and then put the x. And then look at this. What's your farthest right point? It's a closed circle, okay? So it's less than or equal to 4. Okay, now they can write it like this, or it can be x is all numbers less than or equal to 4, because it is all numbers, because that's a closed circle, so that's why you get less than or equal to. It's all numbers less than or equal to 4. Okay, now what about range? Range is bottom to top. Well, here's your bottom when you're talking about the y-axis, but your top, this is never going to stop going up. It's just going up this way. It's never going to stop going up. So, bottom is 0. And that's a closed circle, so that's less than or equal to. Now we're talking about y. Okay, and it's going to positive infinity. So it's less than infinity because you can never equal infinity. Okay, you can never touch infinity. Okay, or they can write it as y. Okay, and look at this point. It's all numbers greater than or equal to 0. Okay, it's all the numbers above 0. So that's where greater than or equal to can come in. A lot of times you'll see more graphs like this or this, okay? But just know that that is what that means. All right, I'm going to do one on your homework. These all are fairly easy. I'll start you off with number 1, okay? Because number 1 looks weird, but it's really not that bad. Okay, so the domain. Do you see how these are 2 different lines? That's going to make your domain a little funky, okay? So it doesn't continue left to right, okay? It's right here. It's this x value and this x value. There's nothing in between. So your domain is just -3 and 2. Okay, I know that one's a little confusing. Don't worry if you don't understand that. I'm saying because this only touches here and this only touches here. It doesn't go any, it's not like these where it's all the stuff in between. Now your range is bottom to top. It's negative infinity to positive infinity. So your range is all real numbers, okay? Or you can write it as negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, let me get on my meat real quick. Sorry. I want to do one more and I don't want to stop the video. Okay. One more. Okay. So this one. Let's see. This is discrete. That's the one where you're going to list them. Okay. And let's do 10. I'll do 10 with you. Okay. So 10. Farthest left to farthest right. So farthest left is right there. Farthest right, these are arrows. So it's going to continue on and on and on and on to infinity. So you can write it as 1, and that's an open circle. So that's less than x, which is less than, and we said these go on and on and on and on and on to infinity. Okay? Or you can write it as x, and then since this is an open circle, it'd be greater than, and then what is that number? 1. Okay, because it's all numbers greater than 1. Domain is all numbers greater than 1, or it's 1 to infinity, however you want to write it. Range, if I'm talking lowest to highest, let me change colors, you got arrows on both. So are you going to be able to find a low spot? No. Are you going to be able to find the highest spot? No. It's negative infinity to infinity. Oops, I forgot my sign right there. Or all real numbers, however you want to write it. Okay, I'm here to answer any questions. Some of you will still be in my class as of next week. Some of you won't. So, yep, ask me questions.